I fear this evening that the 5-year term now beginning will not stop the contemptuous, brutal practices we saw in the previous term. And Emmanuel Macron will do nothing to repair the fractures which divide our country and make our compatriots suffer. So yes, to avoid these few people monopolising power, more than ever I will continue my commitment to France and the French people with the energy, perseverance and affection that you know me for.
Well, a bit earlier today, a team from France 24 has spoken to the president of Marine Le Pen's National Rally Party, Jordan Bardella. Here's a bit of what he told us.
We can always do better, we can always do more, but I have the outlook that the project which we have presented to the people of France was complete and answered all of their concerns. Right now, the French have expressed themselves. They have chosen a pension at 65 years. They've chosen an increase in fuel tax. They've chosen to go further on immigration. I respect their choices, even if I don't agree with them. But when I look at yesterday's results, 3 million more votes compared to 2017 for Marine Le Pen, 2 million less for Emmanuel Macron, I say to myself, this is just the beginning of the movement which we have created.
Well, France 24's Luc Brown is at the Le Pen headquarters where Jordan Bardella was speaking there, and we can talk to him right now. Luc, walk us through what you think the party's strategy now is after this defeat.
We've been seeing a steady stream of the party leadership coming to the headquarters here. No sign yet of Marine Le Pen herself, but they'll be holding a series of meetings of the executive and the National Bureau of the party this afternoon. Their focus is really very much going to be on the next stage, what they like to call the third round of the election, that is the legislative elections in June. The strategy, they want to paint the Rassemblement National party as the principal party of opposition to Emmanuel Macron. As you heard Jordan Bardella underlining, and all of the other figures too, they have increased their share of the vote by 3 million voters from 2017 to 2022. They also want to underline to what extent they believe Jean-Luc Mélenchon has discredited himself by calling for the defeat of Marine Le Pen. That is, of course, key because many of those voters, perhaps swing voters between the two parties. Interestingly, one of the other spokesmen that we spoke to indicated they were ruling out any formal alliance with the Éric Zemmour, for example, the far right of the political spectrum. They say that those kind of deal-making arrangements between parties are part of the past and are not what French voters are looking for. So really the next stage then is going to be looking at in the coming days the legislative elections, and the party will be choosing its 517 candidates to ensure that it is represented in each of the seats in those legislative elections in June in France.
And Luc, what of Marine Le Pen herself? Because during the campaign she said this would be her last run at the presidency, but some suggestion from her concession speech last night that perhaps actually we'll see her run again. What do you think?
Well, you're quite right. The speech itself was incredibly bullish and combative and did not give at all the impression that she would be stepping aside. It has to be said, there is a great deal of satisfaction for the party in defeat. They are at that historic high for the far right and for the party in France. It is, however, of course, her third defeat herself in presidential votes. As we heard earlier from Jordan Bardella, he is the interim president of the party. He had no clear message to give either. He indicated simply that Marine Le Pen would continue in one form or another. So really not clearing things up. I think it's more likely that we're going to hear it from Marine Le Pen herself in the coming weeks and in months. Of course, the next election isn't until 2027. By that time, Marine Le Pen will be 58. Her father, though, continued well into his 70s in active politics. So that shouldn't rule her out. It's unlikely that any challenger will really come from within the party. The biggest threats, perhaps, to Marine Le Pen are likely to come from outside. Éric Zemmour had very harsh words for her as early as 8 p.m. Last night. As the results were outlined, he indicated that the Le Pen family had lost 8 elections, so he's clearly positioning himself as a bit of a key challenger, although, of course, in the polls themselves, he did a lot worse than Marine Le Pen.
Luc Brown outside the Le Pen headquarters. Thanks very much.